Dropping hands after punching. The first habit sounds basic. Throw the punch, bring the hand back. Once a punch leaves, it's natural for a boxer to relax, but pros need to train themselves to keep the rear hand up to block incoming punches. That split second was the opening Ryan Garcia gave Gervonta Davis in April 2023. Garcia had the faster hands, the taller frame, and the left hook everyone knew could end a fight. In round 2, he rushed Davis with wide shots and pulled out with his right side open. Davis stayed low under the attack. He let Garcia's punches pass over him, kept his feet planted, and waited for the hand to return late. Garcia's guard dropped as he backed out. Davis fired the left hand over Garcia's lowered right side and put him down. Davis did not need Garcia to be far out of position. He only needed the hand to come back a half-second late. Garcia's punch missed, his head pulled back, and his guard dropped before his feet were reset. Nonito Donaire punished the same mistake against Vic Darchinyan in 2007. Darchinyan came in undefeated at 28-0, aggressive, awkward, and used to making opponents freeze. He kept stepping in from a low left-hand position, and Donaire kept seeing the same counter window. In round 5, Darchinyan stepped in again. Donaire was already set, and the counter left hook beat Darchinyan's hand back to his chin. The punch landed clean, Darchinyan stumbled into the ropes, and the fight was over. Swinging too hard. A hard punch becomes easier to avoid when the whole body announces it first. It is natural to wind up when a fighter wants more power, but that extra load gives the opponent time to read it. The shoulder loads, the feet set too early, and the opponent can move before the shot gets there. Against Joseph Parker in December 2023, Deontay Wilder kept looking for the right hand, and Parker kept making him start over. Parker stayed low, circled away from the right hand, touched the body, and kept changing the distance before Wilder could settle. The right hand needed space, balance, and a clear target. Parker kept breaking that sequence before Wilder could finish it. Wilder's output dropped, the rounds slipped away, and the punch that usually saved him never got the same clean lane. A loaded punch gives away information. The opponent sees the load, the feet setting, and the weight shift before the hand leaves. By the middle rounds, Parker was reading the right hand early enough to step away, step inside, or make Wilder reset again. George Foreman had to learn the same thing against Muhammad Ali in 1974. Foreman came in undefeated at 40-0 with 37 knockouts. He had destroyed Joe Frazier and Ken Norton in 2 rounds each, and almost nobody expected Ali to survive his power for long. Ali spent round after round taking the sting out of Foreman's swings. He leaned back on the ropes, rolled with shots, tied Foreman up, and made Foreman punch at arms, gloves, shoulders, and empty space. By round 8, Foreman's punches were slower and wider. Ali waited on the ropes, caught the opening, and fired the right hand that started the finish. Backing straight up. Backing up feels safe because it creates space, and it feels natural to move straight back. The problem is that the fighter stays in the same line. The opponent can keep walking forward without having to turn. David Lemieux found that out against Gennady Golovkin in October 2015. Lemieux came in as the IBF middleweight champion with 31 knockouts and 34 wins. He had the kind of left hook that could change a fight in one exchange. Golovkin took that punch away by forcing Lemieux backward behind the jab. Every time Lemieux backed up, Golovkin's jab followed him. He did not have to chase sideways. He stepped forward behind the lead hand, touched Lemieux's guard, and kept him moving toward the ropes. Lemieux tried to reset, but his feet kept going backward before his body had an angle. Once Lemieux reached the edge of the ring, the left hook became harder to set. Golovkin's jab kept interrupting the setup before Lemieux could shift his weight. By the middle rounds, Lemieux was backing up with his gloves high, taking punches without finding a clean lane back. That is what straight retreat does. It gives the opponent a road to follow. Golovkin kept stepping into the same path, forced Lemieux to the ropes, and broke him down behind the jab until the referee stopped it in round 8. Reaching instead of stepping. Reaching happens when a fighter tries to cover distance with his arm instead of his feet. Juan Manuel Marquez had that problem against Floyd Mayweather in September 2009. Marquez was an elite counterpuncher, but Mayweather kept him at a distance where his punches could not land clean unless he reached. Mayweather stayed just outside the end of Marquez's jab. When Marquez stepped correctly, Mayweather moved back or gave him a new angle. When Marquez got impatient, his upper body traveled ahead of his feet. His punches stretched, his balance broke, and Mayweather had time to answer. The second round showed it clearly. Marquez tried to close the gap, and Mayweather caught him coming in. The left hook landed before Marquez could bring his weight back under him, and Marquez went down. That is the cost of reaching. The fighter feels close enough to punch, but his feet have not actually won the position. The arm extends, the chin follows, and the body is stuck between attacking and moving. Mayweather kept repeating that distance trap for 12 rounds. Marquez kept trying to touch him from just outside range, and Mayweather kept making him pay with clean counters. The fight became a lesson in inches. Marquez needed one more step before punching, and Mayweather kept making him throw before that step was there. Moving without punching. Moving can keep a fighter safe, but it can also make him harmless. If the opponent can follow without getting hit, the movement only delays the pressure. Jaron Ennis learned that against Karen Chukadzian in January 2023. Ennis was expected to walk through him. He came in undefeated, explosive, and dangerous from both stances. Chukadzian did not give him the kind of fight that makes a puncher look good. Chukadzian moved constantly, circled away, changed direction, and kept Ennis reaching for clean contact. The problem came after each escape. He moved, reset, and moved again without making Ennis respect anything on the way in. Ennis could keep stepping forward because there was no jab, counter, or body shot waiting often enough to slow him down. That is the trap with movement. If the feet move without punches attached, the opponent gets to chase for free. The fighter may survive longer, but he also gives away rounds because nothing interrupts the pressure. Callum Smith had the same problem against Canelo Alvarez in December 2020. Smith was 6'3" with a long reach, but he spent long stretches backing up without punching enough to keep Canelo off him. Canelo walked him down behind a high guard, cut the distance, and forced Smith toward the ropes again and again. Smith's feet moved, but Canelo rarely had to reset from being hit. By the later rounds, Smith's left arm was badly damaged, his output had dropped, and Canelo was still stepping forward behind pressure that rarely had to pay a price. Following instead of cutting off. Following means reacting to where the opponent already went. Cutting off means stepping into the space he wants to use next. Ricky Hatton had the pressure to make Floyd Mayweather uncomfortable in December 2007. He came in undefeated at 43-0, with a style built on closing distance, wrestling inside, and forcing opponents into uncomfortable exchanges. Mayweather kept sliding just far enough to make Hatton restart his entry. Hatton would rush in, Mayweather would slide away, and Hatton often followed the movement instead of stepping across to block it. That gave Mayweather room to reset near the ropes, turn off the line, or tie Hatton up before the pressure became clean offense. Hatton had the energy, physical strength, and pace to keep forcing the issue, but Mayweather kept making him restart the pressure. When Hatton arrived square, Mayweather had already slid to the side, tied him up, or turned him near the ropes. By the later rounds, Hatton was reaching more and arriving worse balanced. Mayweather could see him coming from farther away. In round 10, Hatton charged in near the corner, and Mayweather caught him with the check hook as Hatton's momentum carried him forward. Hatton crashed into the corner pad and went down. He had followed Mayweather into range again, and Mayweather used that forward motion against him. Fighting every exchange. Some fighters land one shot, then stay too long trying to win the whole exchange. That extra second gives the opponent time to punch with them. Amir Khan had the speed, but Danny Garcia tested the part that comes after landing. In July 2012, Khan was faster, sharper early, and beating Garcia to the punch through the opening rounds. The danger came when Khan stayed in exchanges longer than he needed to. He would land first, keep throwing, and give Garcia extra chances to punch with him. Garcia did not need to win every exchange. He needed Khan to stay there long enough for the timing to appear. In round 3, Khan threw a combination and stayed close after it. Garcia dipped with him, came over the top with a left hook, and caught Khan as he was still exchanging. Khan went down hard, got up hurt, and never fully recovered. Garcia stopped him in round 4. Teofimo Lopez had a similar problem against George Kambosos in November 2021. Lopez came out trying to take control immediately. He loaded up, attacked hard, and kept forcing exchanges before the fight settled. Kambosos stayed calm enough to punch between the rushes. In the first round, Lopez came forward throwing big shots, and Kambosos timed the right hand that dropped him. Lopez later hurt Kambosos and scored his own knockdown, but the early mistake changed the fight. When a fighter feels like every moment has to be answered, he starts giving the opponent the exchanges he wants. Khan and Lopez both had the faster weapons, but both gave the counterpuncher enough traffic to find them. Chasing the finish. Going for the knockout at the wrong time can drain a fighter faster than getting hit. The hurt opponent only has to cover up and survive, while the attacker burns energy throwing every punch like the fight is one shot from being over. Jermaine Taylor had that moment against Kelly Pavlik on September 29, 2007. Taylor was the faster fighter, the Olympic medalist, and the former undisputed middleweight champion. In round 2, Taylor landed clean and Pavlik went down hard. Pavlik got up hurt and Taylor rushed after him. He threw everything at once: hooks, right hands, uppercuts, and short shots while Pavlik was trapped near the ropes. For a few seconds, it looked like the fight was about to end. Pavlik's legs were not fully under him, but he kept defending. Taylor's punches got wider as the attack went on. His balance got worse, and Pavlik survived by covering up, rolling with shots, and waiting for Taylor's burst to slow down. By the middle rounds, Pavlik had recovered and started walking him down behind the jab. Taylor's sharp early bursts were not coming with the same snap. Pavlik kept pressing, kept touching him, and kept forcing exchanges near the ropes. In round 7, Taylor backed up under pressure, and Pavlik caught him clean. The left hook hurt him, the follow-up punches pinned him on the ropes, and Pavlik finished the fight Taylor almost ended 5 rounds earlier. Proving you can take it. The hardest habit to unlearn is proving a punch did not hurt. Fighters get praised for taking shots, so some of them start answering pain with pride. Manny Pacquiao had every reason to get pulled into that against Antonio Margarito in November 2010. Margarito was much bigger, with long arms, a heavy frame, and the kind of pressure that could force smaller fighters into a brawl. Pacquiao did not stand in front of him just to prove he could. He hit Margarito, stepped around him, reset, and made the bigger man keep turning before he could answer. When Margarito did trap him on the ropes, Pacquiao moved before the exchange became a strength contest. That mattered because Margarito did land hard shots. In round 6, he hurt Pacquiao to the body and briefly changed the feel of the fight. It was one of the few moments where Margarito's size clearly got Pacquiao's attention. Pacquiao moved, recovered, and went back to winning the fight with speed and angles. Arturo Gatti showed what happens when toughness becomes the plan against Oscar De La Hoya in 2001. Gatti had made a career out of surviving punishment and turning fights into wars. But De La Hoya was too fast and too sharp for that to work. Every time Gatti tried to stand his ground, De La Hoya beat him to the punch with cleaner combinations. By round 5, Gatti's face was swelling, his reactions were slowing, and De La Hoya was landing before Gatti could answer. The corner stopped it before toughness turned into more unnecessary damage.